This is To Kill a Mockingbird, chapter 716. Okay, so in these chapters, there's a lot of drama that goes on, such as a house fire and racism, and the fact that Macomb might be a sundown city. Okay, so it starts off right here in chapter 7 after Jem and Jean try to break into the yard, and that's where I left off in my last vlog. And so right here on page 83, see my annotations. It says, "Morning, Jem Scout," said Mr. Radley as he went by. "Mr. Radley," said Jem. Mr. Radley turned around. Mr. Radley, did you put cement in that hole in the tree down yonder? Okay, so in the previous chapters, Jem and Jean noticed that there's been gum in the tree, a hole in the tree. And I would imagine that's a pretty good sized hole, for the fill of the concrete. So there must have been a lot of gum in there. And Mr. Radley caught on to this, and his excuse for plugging up the tree is that the tree was dying. But right here, it says that Jem thinks that the tree was fine on page 84. It says that tree is as healthy as you are, Jem. Why Mr. Radley said it was dying. And so I don't think that's really the reason why he plugged up the tree, but instead just to cover up all the gum that Bo Radley put in there. Alright, and then here on chapter 8, it says that Mrs. Radley died in the winter, and nobody really even knew that she died, and nobody really even cared. It says right here, chapter 8, first page, "Old Miss Radley died that winter, but her death caused hardly ripple. The neighborhood seldom saw her except when she watered her canis." So what this is saying is the Radleys kind of in general are kind of quiet, like Boo Radley and Mr. Radley. So they could just be one of those kind of quiet people in the community. Alright, and on page 94 here, there's this big house fire. Miss Maldi's house catches on fire. And then what happens is nobody knows how it happened, and they don't think that's happened naturally. So their natural reaction is to blame Mr. Radley or Boo Radley, because there's a lot of gossipers in this town, like Miss Stephanie Crawford, and so they try to put it on the Radleys because they're quiet and they're kind of in a way innocent, but yet they tend to pick on them because they're not active members of society. So all the problems that they face, they blame it on Radleys. It says also on page 95, he said he didn't know how it got there. We did exactly what Atticus told me. Radley gave everybody, and it says right here on page 95 after that, Mr. Nathan was at the fire. And by Mr. Nathan, that's Boo Radley's older brother. So there's gonna be a lot of drama, I think, that's coming up here. And yeah, and then and lastly, on page 97, it says right here. Okay, so during the fire, there's a blanket put over Scout, and and it says someday maybe Scout can thank him for covering her up. And then she was like, "Thank who?" I asked. "Boo Radley. You were so busy looking at the fire you didn't know it when you put the blanket on you. My stomach turned to water and nearly threw up when Jem held up blanket and kept talking." he walked out of a house, turned around, sneaked up, and we're like this. So it's like a lot more controversy around it that he